Today, we are strapping in for what might be one of the most uh, radical and frankly audacious proposals for a digital future we've ever come across.
Yeah, this isn't just about updating an app.
Not at all. This is an attempt to build the foundational digital infrastructure for a truly global, decentralized governance model they've titled the United Nations of the Earth.
It's a huge ambition.
It is. And to do that, our sources, which include detailed excerpts from the project's GitHub and their manifestos, describe something called the Foundation Protocol. This is code aimed at creating, and this is their phrase, an unstoppable digital social internet.
Right.
Our listeners shared these sources because they want to get a quick but really fluent understanding of the core concepts, the mechanisms, and the mission. Okay, let's unpack this.
I think the place to start is the why. The necessity behind this project is maybe even more compelling than the project itself. The creators argue that the current internet is, well, it's structurally flawed when it comes to human rights. So the core mission here is to build a base layer for free speech, for fair voting, and for communication that just cannot be shut down.
May not be shut down, censored, or controlled.
Exactly. Not by any single entity, whether that's a big corporation or a government. They really want you to understand that why before you even get to the how.
And the manifestos are very clear about the four big structural problems that they think need to be torn down. The first is identity ownership.
Right. Who owns your online?
Exactly. Right now, companies are the gatekeepers.
Yeah.
They decide if you can log in, if you can post, if your digital identity even gets to exist. They can delete your account, sell your data, track everything you do.
It's effective control over your digital life.
Right. And second, there's this authenticity crisis. If you can't rely on a message being real, that it hasn't been faked or changed after the fact, well, trust just collapses.
Which leads right into the third problem. Massive centralization. All that power is concentrated in just a few corporate hands. If their servers go down, the service is just gone. More importantly, if they decide to censor something, that decision affects billions of people instantly.
And the final one, the fourth problem, is what they call the lack of reliable trust. You don't trust the math. You have to blindly trust the platform operator, the CEO, the board, the admins.
And once that faith is broken, the whole system breaks.
What's fascinating is how they frame these technical issues as, well, fundamentally political instruments.
Oh, absolutely. The core argument is that centralization gives a tiny group of people the power to control public discourse, to dictate what billions of people see and say.
And ultimately shape reality for them.
Exactly. And so their main insight is that digital rights, they shouldn't just be optional rules in a terms of service document. They have to be built into the system itself using, hard math, cryptography.
So it's automatic,
Yeah.
permissionless, not something that can be granted and then, taken away. Okay, so that critique basically demands a completely different architecture. So let's look at their solution. The three conceptual layers of this foundation protocol.
The unstoppable layers.
Right. First, we have layer A, the communication layer. Unstoppable messaging. The whole thing is designed so messages or data packets can't be blocked or deleted. And there's no central owner to trace them back to.
The message just exists on the network, free from that single point of censorship.
And then there's layer C, the constitutional layer. This is the idea of a digital bill of rights, free speech, privacy, identity ownership, baked right into the code.
This is where it gets really philosophically tricky.
Here's where it gets really interesting, yeah. The sources say these rights are meant to be unchangeable. They call them unbreakable laws written in math. No community vote, no corporate decision can get rid of them.
And that's the system's biggest promise, but it's also its biggest political challenge, isn't it? I mean, if a protocol defines these core human rights, what happens when we need to change them? If human consensus demands an update, say, to defend against some new kind of attack, but the system is mathematically locked down, doesn't that immutability eventually become a weakness? A bug instead of a feature?
That's a huge point. That tension between, technological rigidity and human governance. But to even get to that unbreakable status, the whole system depends on a new way of handling identity, what they call self-sovereign identity.
Correct. So you, the user, you never create an account in the old sense. No email, no password. Instead, your device, your phone or laptop, generates a cryptographic key pair.
Okay, so a public key and a private key.
Exactly. The public key becomes your ID for life, and the private key is known only to you.
And the security notes in the docs are really strict on this.
Oh yeah. The private key is only stored in your browser's local storage or a similar secure spot on your device. It is never sent to a server. This pulls identity control away from the cloud and puts it right back into your hands.
But, okay, let me ask the obvious question.
Yeah.
If the private key is only stored locally, what happens if I, drop my phone in a lake? Is that it? Is my entire digital identity just gone forever?
That's the major hurdle for this kind of thing, yeah. And that's why the long-term goals in the manifestos talk about multi-device identity sync through encrypted backups.
So you could back it up somewhere.
The idea is you could encrypt your private key with a really complex passphrase, and then you could back up that encrypted file to multiple places. But the network never holds the key to unlock it. You, the individual, have the sole power to restore your identity.
So the responsibility is entirely on you to protect that passphrase.
Entirely.
Okay, so once you have this self-sovereign identity, how does that guarantee that messages are authentic?
That brings us to solution 2, signed messages. Because you own your private key, every piece of data you create, every post, every vote is sealed with a cryptographic signature. And that signature gives you 3 guarantees. It's authentic, meaning it came from your public key. It's immutable, so it can't be changed. And it's verifiable. Anyone can use your public key to check the signature.
So if someone changes even a single letter,
The signature breaks instantly, and the network knows it's a fake.
this moves us beyond just communication and into, well, how this world governs itself. That's layer B, the governance layer. Fair, smart voting.
A way to make decisions without politicians.
Right. And this layer introduces this really fascinating mechanism for influence. Bayesian reputation. This is one of the key innovations, so we should probably break it down.
Yeah, it's a core concept. Think of it as a constantly self-correcting credibility score.
Okay.
So if you consistently make predictions or cast votes that end up being good for the community, they lead to successful outcomes, your influence, your legitimacy score, it slowly goes up.
But what if you're wrong? Or malicious?
Conversely, yeah, if you consistently push for things that harm the community, or you post misinformation that the network can verify is false, your influence slowly fades. It's not a ban. It's just a systematic reduction in the weight your vote carries.
So trust is dynamic. It's earned over time through good judgment.
Exactly. It's a meritocracy based on demonstrated insight.
Which raises another critical question, especially when you're talking about analyzing all this data. Where does AI fit into this?
That's essential to clarify. The sources are very careful here. The protocol is AI-friendly, but it is strictly not controlled by AI.
So the AI is just an assistant.
Precisely. It can help you deal with information overload, like giving you an optional AI summary of the last 20 messages in a thread. It helps you sort and filter. But the manifestos are unwavering on this.
What can it do?
AI does not have a private key. It can't vote. It can't make governance decisions. Humans govern. The AI just helps us process the fire hose of information from a global network.
That brings us from theory right down to the actual code. The minimum viable product, the MVP, which is already on GitHub. This isn't just an idea. They've built the first slice.
Yeah, they've proven the core concepts are technically possible.
And the MVP is this minimal, open-source social internet. It demonstrates self-sovereign identity. You can post cryptographically signed messages. There's a global feed in chronological order. And you can do threading and replies.
And critically, no accounts, just keys.
Looking at their tech stack is also really telling. They're using Next.js and React, which makes sense for the front end. But their database choice is SQLite.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right. They chose a lightweight file-based database, specifically because it emphasizes local storage. It fits the whole decentralized model instead of, a giant centralized database cluster, which would become a point of control.
They're literally building an architecture that fights centralization at every level. And while the MVP uses a simple relay server for now, just to get the network started...
Just to connect people initially.
Yeah, the whole design is meant to move to a fully peer-to-peer network, so messages eventually go directly between users, bypassing any central server.
And the transparency is key to their whole model of trust. The project is completely open source.
Anyone can look at the code.
Anyone can inspect it, audit it, use it, improve it. The creators argue that's the only way to solve the trust problem. If there's hidden functionality, you're back to relying on blind faith.
And the beautiful thing is how simple the core mechanism is. Everything in the protocol, a post, a vote, a document, uses the same simple universal message format.
And what's in that?
It's elegant. Just 5 things. The writer's public key, the timestamp, the content itself, an optional reply reference for threading, and the cryptographic signature. That's it. Everything else is built on top of that simple, signed message.
So now that we've got this foundation, we have to look ahead. What does this thing actually enable?
Well, the open nature of it means anyone can build systems without asking for permission. No corporation, no government can stop you.
Right. The foundation is designed to host new social networks, encrypted chats, news feeds, secure voting systems, marketplaces, and their ultimate goal: digital governments that run entirely on verifiable math.
The roadmap is incredibly ambitious. They want to get to true P2P networking, implement that full set of constitutional unbreakable laws, fully build out that Bayesian reputation layer, and anchor the whole thing to a blockchain for maximum immutability.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, right now?
Well, the immediate relevance is that it's a profound statement about what digital citizenship could be. This protocol is explicitly designed as a tool for personal freedom. It's built for citizens in censored countries, for developers who want to build without gatekeepers, for anyone who believes their identity, their privacy, and their right to speak freely should be protected by the laws of math, not the, changing whims of corporate policy. It's a structural attempt to dilute centralized digital power.
And that is the core takeaway. The Foundation Protocol is an effort to create an unstoppable digital base layer where identity is self-owned and communication is both free and verifiable. It's the groundwork for a new type of global digital democracy, the infrastructure for the United Nations of the Earth.
Now, here is a final thought to consider as you process all of this. It's pretty radical material.
Go on.
If digital rights like privacy, free speech, and identity are successfully written into code, making them unbreakable laws written in math, does that fundamentally redefine what it means to be a citizen? Does it irrevocably shift the ultimate source of governing power away from traditional human institutions and their changeable laws and toward autonomous cryptographic protocols?